about Alex Dávila. She's a music executive and entrepreneur. She's a partner and the chief executive officer at Adarga Entertainment Group, a company with teams based in Colombia, Guatemala, and the US, focused on providing consulting, marketing, distribution, publishing, and other music industry services to independent artists and record labels. Most notably, she has worked with high-profile artists including Miel San Marcos, Twice Musica, Alex Campos, for King and Country, Bethel Music, Ricardo Montaner, Tercer Cielo, Blanca, Maverick City Musica, Lecrae, Elevation Worship, Hillsong Young and Free, Jossie Velasquez, and many more. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Alex Davia now.
Hey, everybody. First of all, thank you so much to Pandion Music Foundation for having me. Thank you, Kimberly, for and Rebecca, and the team for having us or having me. So I'm so excited to be here. I am not a public speaker, so we're going to do this together. I'm really excited to be able to share whatever I can and that we're able to learn together. And so we're family. This group, it's a it's a safe space. I'm happy to share all I've learned with you guys. And we're gonna have a particular topic today, but like Kimberly shared, my name is Alexandria Davila. I go by Alex. I'm Puerto Rican. I was born in San Juan, Puerto Rico. I grew up in Orlando. I'm an East Coast girl, grew up in Orlando, live in Northern Virginia with my family outside of DC, so DMV area, if you're familiar. It's really cold right now. Sun came out today, which is nice. Um, I've worked in the music industry for 13 years. I'm the current CEO at Adarga Entertainment Group. Um, Adarga is based in LA, and I'm on the East Coast. So completely opposite ends of the United States, but we divide and conquer, if you've heard of that phrase before. So my partner lives in LA and I live on the East Coast, and it's really nice. We're able to share a lot of relationships that way and just be able to just get places quicker. And I wanted to share a little bit about my story. I would have never thought I would have ended up in the music industry. I don't know about you all, or as you guys are discovering what you're going to do or what you're doing in your career currently. But I remember I met this guy that I fell in love with and I got married with, my husband of 17 years, and he was in a band and needed a manager. So I became his manager. And so I started in the music industry truly inspired by my husband. And I was managing his band, but I knew nothing about the music industry. And so I would show up to places like this to learn. And in that time, there wasn't a lot of opportunity online. So there was a lot of emailing and Googling and calling and just trying to see where I could get my footing in order to learn the music industry and navigate what it could be to represent his music and to figure out how um to start. And so that was in 2000. I started managing his band in 2011, 2012. And then we fast forward to today. I've continued to work in the music industry and I've built different things, finished college, but truly didn't have an in. I had no backers, nobody in my family worked in music. It was a slow and steady um, increase of knowledge and information and opportunities. And so I'm really grateful for the people that open doors for me. And so I hope that today I can help open a door for you in knowledge or in something that maybe you were considering. And so I hope today is helpful for you. Vero, can we go to the next slide? Oh, also want to introduce my colleague Veronica. She's helping me today with the slides so I can focus on um, speaking with you guys today. So thank you, Vero. Appreciate your help and thank you for being here with me. So we're going to learn about how artists, managers, and executives build winning partnerships. When you see this, it's so important to build a team, but building a team can be hard, especially a consistent team, and where maybe you don't have the finances to say, I'm going to hire a full-time assistant or have a percentage that you can give a manager to stay on. Many times at the beginning, there's a lot of pro bono or volunteer work that happens, and it can be difficult to build on that team, on what that looks like. But we're going to look through what do partnerships look like? How do you build upon them? And how do you also look at red flags? What should you look for when you find the right manager? And what maybe you should be cautious about, or you should consider things that you have to clear up before maybe it could become a good partnership. So we're going to review some different things here together. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So what are they really looking for when deciding to work with an artist? Beyond talent, beyond hype, they're looking something to last. Um, because when there's a big investment in an artist, or even in any type of relationship, if we have managers here, vice versa, you're looking for an artist that is willing to invest in the time with you, and they don't always see the grass greener on the other side. If you don't know what that means, it's always more beautiful on the other end, or it looks more appealing. It looks like it's moving faster on the other side than where you are. But it's not until you're deep into that person's shoes, if you've heard all these references, is where you truly see how people are moving forward and what they've gone through to get there. And so for us, I always tell artists it's really important that there's so many talented people, and you can have a great momentum around you. But if you're not willing to walk the lasting walk that sometimes can be long, and it can have a lot of, there can be the ups and downs, those are the people that you want to jump into the ship with in the long run. So that okay, we go to the next slide. So let's make this interactive. Raise your hand if you've ever had a partnership that looked great on paper but didn't last. Okay, I see a few people. I see a few people. I see. I mean, there's been times, and when I say partnerships, partnerships can be clients. We really truly feel at Adarga that Adarga stands for Shield, by the way. And that's part of our messaging with our clients. You know, we want to shield them from possible outcomes in the music industry that we've learned from that could be negative, and be able to create a space for them to teach them and help them expand their music ministries, their artist careers, and a positive culture in a long-lasting career. And so there's been times that we've hit roadblocks where our partnerships with our clients don't work. It looked great on paper, they had the right talent, we thought we fit together, and it just didn't. And there's a moment in time where you have to say, okay, this is where we want to break past and say, okay, up to here. And knowing when to do that is a little bit of what we're going to learn through today. Why partnerships matter more than ever. Talent is everywhere. Attention is short. There's so much coming at us, so much talent out there. But what we're looking for are careers that are long and perseverance. I know something that catches my eye. I'm sure a lot of you use social media. Um, and I see so much. Like they say that scrolling is what raises your cortisol. Like you're scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. And after a certain point, I feel like you lose track of what you're even seeing. I mean, you could have seen somebody like have perfect pitch, you could have seen somebody have the best music video, and all of a sudden, you don't even notice or know what you're looking at anymore because you're just scrolling. Um, and then all of a sudden, you start to see your repeat people. And then those are the ones that truly catch your eye, the ones that are consistent, the one that you're like, wow, I saw them post something every day, or you saw them post something last month, and now there's something of quality this month, or something super intentional or different. And you're seeing this person everywhere, not only on social media, but you start to see them. at places where you attend in the music industry, or you see them at a conference. You start to see them in the writing rooms on credits. Us, music nerds, we're looking at the credits. We're like, who's writing these songs? You start to see them on every song or track list, and you're like, wow, this person is not just talent. It's not something that's short-ended for them, but they're truly trying to mix up in all places and make sure they can get their footing so they can then be noticed. And so that's something that I look for when I'm looking for writers or for artists to connect with. I'm looking, are they only in one place? And if they're in one place, are they doing their best there? Or are they doing multiple things that they're consistent at? There's also the negative part. You do too much, but nothing looks complete, which we have to be careful with. But there's the artists that truly learn, or executives, companies, managers. You start to notice that all they do is very clear messaging. They're on top of the things that they commit to, and they're focused. And so that's truly important. Moments get you noticed, but partnerships build careers. And so it's really important that, yes, it's wonderful to be noticed, but you want to make sure that it's long lasting, because though that's what people are going to connect with. And then the partnerships build careers is as these people are building their careers, they're also doing partnerships. They're songwriting with other people, they're connecting with people at these events, so on and so forth, and they're starting to create their network. And that network is a part of their partnerships that is helping to get them ahead. If we can go to the next slide, Vero. So this is an interactive poll to make sure that I keep you guys awake. I know this is going to be a good
Hey,
hour.
Robbie.
Oh, I think somebody has their hey Robbie. All right, this interactive poll. Use the chat to rank these in order of importance. So it's 4 words. Number 1 is going to be the most important, and number 4 is the least important. Doesn't mean it's not important, but least important. So clarity, momentum, behavior, and vision. If you can please rank them, and I'm going to explain to you what each of these words mean to me. So clarity means the word clarity. It's very clear. Clear position, clear vision. The artist or the management company or whatever role you play in the music industry, it is clear. Momentum, that there is movement. There's could be touring, they're releasing music consistently. Um, all aspects of it, you see that there's fan engagement. If it's a company, that the company has clients, that they're consistently growing. They went maybe from having 10 clients to 20 clients to 100 clients. Um, Behavior, are they consistent in what they say? Do they stick to their vision? Do they stick to their momentum? And then vision is, what is their vision 5 to 10 years? Are they moving on up? Do they have a mission and vision statement? Is all of that clear? So that's a little bit about what those mean. Okay, I love this. Somebody said vision, behavior, clarity, momentum, behavior, clarity, momentum, vision, clarity, behavior, momentum. There you go. I'll let everybody I'll give everybody just another minute before we go to the next slide. Thank you, Vero. Can you go to the next slide? So this is my list. This is not an absolute, so I love what you guys have chosen, and that could be very important to you. Um, so this is my list is behavior, clarity, vision, momentum. Behavior in the music industry, behavior shows up in how you handle meetings, take feedback, meet deadlines, and treat people often just as important as talent. This is so important. The music industry can change in an instinct. The music industry, there's so many things that are inconsistent that you have to keep up with. And it's like any job or any career path. There's 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 changes, and in change can make people uncomfortable. And it's really important that the team that you work with or the talent that you work with has an attitude of, okay, let's figure it out together. We can have, I would say, like our meltdowns and our, hey, we all go through it. There's just times that are so hard. But at the end of the day, we're gonna regroup and have professionalism and say, okay, let's work this together. Let's figure it out. Not taking it personal and figuring out a path forward. Because if not, you're going to feel stuck and you won't be able to be clear. You won't be able to have a vision and you won't be able to continue the momentum if the behavior is not open to creating the other spaces. So talent gets the meeting, behavior gets the deal. And many times when we sit at that table with vice versa, the management side or the talent side, I'm sure for the talent that's on this call, there's been times where maybe you're trying to get a management or a distribution deal and you sit at the table and the person doesn't look you in the eye, doesn't give you the time of day, is looking at their phone, they're like, give me a second, I'm gonna text somebody, give me a second. And you're like, okay, but are you listening to me? Do you even know my name? It's so important that whatever partnerships you're going to engage in, that you feel that it is engaged, that there is something that you can feel that you're going to be able to get feedback because this is something serious for you. This is going to be your career path long term. So I feel like behavior is the place to really see somebody's character, and you can build on the rest. Vero, let's go to the next slide. So what they're actually asking internally. So you have the meeting, and then what does the team say in the back or after the Zoom call? I feel that they're asking these things. Can we build with this person? Will they execute without babysitting? And will this relationship last past one release? Like I was mentioning, it's important that we can build together. And it's important that if it's either the creative or the business side, which the business side is creative, by the way. I know sometimes people are like the creative is only the songwriter or the artist, but I'm very much a creative on the business side. There's so much we create, there's so much that we're looking for to expand the talent and having a certain type of reach. And in that, you as a talent don't want to babysit me because you want me to be responsible with what I'm supposed to give, and vice versa. Um, and you want to know, like, hey, I'm going to walk into this business deal because I want to go past one release. So these are some of the questions that we're asking on the back end. Vero, can we go to the next slide? What industry teams really look for when deciding to work with an artist? Consistent streaming growth. And when I say this, I don't say hundreds of millions of streams, but if you see an artist release a song and then they release numerous songs and it stays at 100 streams in their monthly listeners, there might be a disconnect. Could be a disconnect of promotion, it could be music, it could be so many different aspects of it. But for us, it's really important as we've done artist development and working with new talent. We're looking for artists that we can grow consistent and we can see their revenue grow. And we've worked with artists that we started working with them, and they go from giving real numbers, having 10,000 monthly listeners, and now they have 200,000 monthly listeners. They went from making $0 to making consistently $1,500 a month over the course of 2 years. There was a consistent growth in the efforts on many aspects. that took him there. And so we want to see consistent streaming growth, and it's really important. Live show opportunities. Either they're going out to doing local shows. They're starting to. Um, it doesn't necessarily be paid have to be paid events. We have some clients. We work a lot in the Christian music industry that they're making sure to play out on Sundays every Sunday. They're making sure to be out there on a church. They're going out to certain festivals, even if it's just an opportunity that's unpaid. And eventually it's growing to paid opportunities. Um, so all of that is truly very important in order to get that recognition, right? Or to grow those fans. Repeat engagement on social media. Comments, saves, shares, follower count. We want to see repeat fans. We call them the super fans. I feel like K-pop has done an amazing job at creating super fans. They're another level, and we should probably look more into what they're doing because it's pretty incredible. You know, you go to one of their concerts. It's a few years ago, one of my clients was playing the Microsoft Center and LA Live, and there was a K-pop band across the street, and we were having all of our fans come in, and they were chill, but the K-pop fans, they were dressed like their favorite artist. They were wearing the merch. They were singing the songs outside. They were there 3 hours early. And I was like, wow, that's commitment. That's engagement. Love my client, but I was like, I was looking at what they were doing. It was pretty crazy. Fans doing things without being asked. So using your song on Instagram or using their song to engage their own fans or followers and creating song clips and being a repeat person to come back and look at who's following you. um I think is really wonderful, and that's what we're looking for when we're looking to engage with an artist. Can you go to the next slide? What industry teams really look for when deciding to work with an artist? Teams want to immediately understand who you are, what you stand for, why you're different, not just your sound, but your world. What do you create that makes you different than other artists? I put Coldplay because I feel like they're very I don't work with Coldplay, but that would be crazy. That would be a dream goal. They create worlds, they create these crazy experiences, and you just feel so connected to their music, their positivity. So I think it's really impactful of who they are. This includes key factors such as visuals, message, culture, and audience. And so I think it's really important. We also work with a lot of independent artists, and we have an artist right now. Her name is Karen Espinosa, and she's so clear with her visuals. And she's taken a long time, but she really truly has wanted to be very consistent with her look, her image, the way that she portrays her music, and one album to the next have been very consistent in the messaging going from one to the other. And her fans are expecting, like they're waiting to see what's going to come next, and she tells the story. So she does it so beautifully, and you should check her out. Maybe Vero can put her name in the chat, but she's an independent artist, newer, and I feel like she's so good at telling that story and engaging the fan. And so I wanted to make sure to give a real example other than like a Coldplay, right? Because Coldplay is huge, but Karen is on her way to rise, and she's so consistent in her messaging. And once you go to her socials, it's going to be clear to you what she's trying to obtain and what her vision is. Okay, let's go to the next slide. What industry teams really look for? This is just another example. I love Ed Sheeran. This is not like a paid promotion, but I just saw his one take concert on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's so remarkable. And the way that they do this one take concert and how consistent they are, it was just crazy. But Ed Sheeran uses mathematical symbols for his album titles to create a distinct and easily recognizable and consistent brand identity that doesn't rely on his face or name on the cover. He is, I feel like, one of a very intentional artist. Love his sound, love how consistent he is. So I put him as an example. All right, Beto, we can keep going. Artist manager dynamics, expectations, boundaries, and communication. So we're going to talk about shifting into this conversation. Um, I have a question for you guys. What's harder, saying too much or saying nothing until it explodes? That's a genuine question. If you guys can put it in the chat, um, how has it been for you? Do you feel like you overshare your feelings? Or do you wait because you feel that you can't share them until it explodes or gets out of control? Okay, I have some oversharers. I have some say nothing. Say nothing is harder. Saying nothing, middle. Okay, I feel like I can be a middle person as well. Um, not much. Okay. Thank you guys for participating. I appreciate it. Um, it's hard. Communication is so hard. And I feel that it can be so scary because you feel, okay, there's going to be consequences to my communication. And those consequences could take me to a place that I don't want to be in because I don't want to lose the only team I have. And so you feel in a place where you're willing to say nothing in order to at least have something. Um, and this is just something I want to share with you guys, something to think about. Um, Sometimes you have to lose in order to gain, and consequences allow you to learn from where you're at so then you can continue and hopefully find that better place for you or that better partnership for you. So saying too much can sometimes be negative because you might just go overboard with your emotions or explain, or saying nothing until it explodes is also very negative because the person's like, wait, why didn't you say something? We could have just fixed it a long time ago. So I think I saw somebody put the middle. I think it's important to find a balance, and making sure that you're able to communicate directly and be clear. And we talked a little bit about that clarity and a clear expectation is so important as you're working through building boundaries. And boundaries are something that you build over time. Don't feel that the relationship or the partnership is going to be perfect from the beginning because that's the case for no one because you have to get to know each other. It's an investment of time, and eventually you get to a place where you start to understand each other, and you're understanding where you are. But each relationship goes through different seasons in time, and even decades. People work together for decades in the music industry, and it's important to consistently touch base and be on the same page. Also, don't think that just because you've been with somebody for a long time, I just know them. That doesn't bother them. Check in with them. People change, expectations change. Check in with each other. So key in order to maintain and continue to have healthy boundaries, healthy relationships, and healthy expectations. Better, let's go to the next. So healthy versus unhealthy dynamics. Healthy, clear roles, regular check-ins, honest feedback early. Unhealthy, vague expectations, emotional decision making, and power struggles. This is so important. And what do I mean? I wanted to touch base on clear roles, especially when you're newer talent and you're starting with a manager, or vice versa. Many times when we're running solo, we're used to doing everything. And we want to hold on to that control. And there's, your friend is like, hey, I want to help you manage. Okay, yeah, let's work together. Let's do it. There is going to be a teaching phase where you're going to get to teach them what you've done so they can start taking over things. But eventually, you truly need to let go and let that person do their job so there can be clear roles and expectations. Because if not, that person is going to say, well, do you need me? And that doesn't allow you for you to grow in whatever space you're in. And that's something when I started at Adarga 13 years ago, I've worked in almost every department. I started in as an assistant. I worked in radio promotion. I was a very terrible assistant. I lasted as an assistant days. But I did do an assistant job and it's beautiful. Like my assistant is the most amazing and I'm so grateful. Um, but I was not that person. I wasn't able to do it. So, but then I did radio promotion and I did that for a while. I did A&Ring. I just did so many different roles at Adarga, um, kind of all hands on deck. And new people would come in and I would want to still help them do my role. And I had to come to a place to say, okay, I'm handing you over my role so I can do these new roles. I'm going to oversee. There's a difference between overseeing and micromanaging. So you gotta, how do I say this? You have to maximize the art of that. It's so important. And then it will allow you to truly do your new, or the things that you've been wanting to do that you weren't able to do before. Something truly, on the aspect of unhealthy of these things that I posted that I wanted to highlight was emotional decision making. I have a rule of thumb. If I'm feeling emotional, I always take a day. And sometimes I have to tell people, let me think on this, let me step back, and let's talk tomorrow. And that's putting a healthy boundary because we tend to make very unwise decisions when we're emotional, where our heart is hurting. And it's true, like these are our jobs and these are our talents. And especially in the music industry, there's a lot of heart that goes into the creative space, and we can be emotional. So we need to take a step back and truly see, okay, is this non-negotiable? Can I not deal with this? Or did I maybe overreact in these ways? Do I need to, can I move forward with this? Ask yourself questions, evaluate it, talk to somebody else on your team. If you don't have a team, talk to a friend or, if you have a good therapist, talk to your therapist. Like, talk these things out. Don't feel that you have to do this completely on your own. Because I think it's really important when we're able to bounce back ideas so we can make sound decision making and not emotional decision making. Okay, Vero, let's go ahead to the next. Boundaries don't weaken relationships, they protect them. Boundaries are so important. Create those boundaries. I'm a mom of two. I have two little boys. Um, I am also a very hard worker, and I could probably go 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to midnight if I allowed myself, I would do that. But then I would run myself to the ground as well. I used to think if I don't work enough, if I'm not always on, I'm not bringing value. I'm not doing enough. I want to make sure to keep up with whoever. I want to make sure that I'm pulling my weight. But boundaries are so important. It's important that you rest. It's important that you put boundaries with your clients or artists with managers. So some of the boundaries that I've built is my clients, unless it's an emergency, they don't call me on the weekends. Um, After 8 p.m., I try to stop answering my clients and wait until the next day. Guys, we are not curing cancer. We're curing hearts. And I love this music industry, but we're not on call at an emergency hospital. And so it's okay if we wait until the next day for the most part. There's gonna be its exceptions. But I always like to say this and I repeat this to myself consistently. And that sounds really extreme, right? We're not curing cancer, but those it's just important that we put boundaries because the healthier version of ourselves is what's going to allow us to give the best in talent, the best in what we're spreading to the world, because music is so important. Music is what's healing people. Music is what gives people um I don't know, this world is tough and hard, but what you guys do on both end, music business or on the music side, it's truly special and it makes a difference, but we can only give the best of ourselves when we put those boundaries. So important. All right, Vero, let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Red flags on both sides of the relationship. Okay, so let's go to an interactive game. I've been chatting here for a little bit. Um, I'm gonna say a line, so like missed deadlines, and then you're gonna put if it's a red flag or a growing pain. Red flag means that it's something not positive. And growing pain means I'm growing, but it hurt, and it's okay. It could be better. We're gonna be able to make it better. So if you've never heard those terms before, that's what it means. So missed deadlines. Is it a red flag or a growing pain? Okay, okay. Pushback on feedback. Red flag or growing pain? Okay. Over promising connections. Red flag. Avoiding financial conversations. Red flag. All right, I got some smart people on this team. I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying. Um, Vero, can you go to the next slide? I can't remember if on the next slide I have. Okay, let's go back. I'm sorry. Let's go back one slide. Thank you. So, missed deadlines. I see them as, in my opinion, growing pains if it's not consistent. So it's kind of a catch-22. It happens to all of us, especially in the music world. It could be that the mixer didn't come in on time. It could be that we had an issue with the vocal and we have to go back and we have to adjust the deadline. Um, but it's something where if it's something consistent that we're continuing to move the deadline, never able to finish, then it can turn into a red flag. So I see it as a growing pain that could eventually turn into a red flag, and that needs to be addressed quickly. So pushback on feedback. I also feel that it's a growing pain. Getting feedback is really hard. It hits, you know that you're working so hard, you know you're giving it your all, and somebody always has something to say. They're like, "Hey, you didn't hit this market, or you could have done this," and you're like, "Listen, I did what I could. I did what I could, what I can." But it's truly a growing pain. I feel like once you get to the place where you're truly comfortable with yourself, you're like, "Hey, I received that feedback. I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna listen to it. I'm gonna take the good out of it, of what I can change, and I'll store what you said in the back. And if there's an opportunity to take that feedback too, I think feedback is so important and can really come from a good place when your mind is in the place to receive it. So I think that growing pains, growing up, it shows maturity when you can receive feedback. So I think that's important. Over promising connections is a red flag to me. Connections, when it's not you and it's not something that you can do, like as myself, um, then I'm overpromising somebody else's relationship or somebody else's position. Um, I can say, I can present you to them. We can see what we can do, but I can't say 100%. I'm going to give you an example. I don't know about you guys, but every client of mine wants to be on a playlist. Playlists are a hot topic at Adarga. Everybody wants their song on a playlist. They come to Adarga and they're like, "Hey, Adarga equals I'm gonna get on a playlist." The first thing I say is that playlist is not my house, but we are going to do everything that we can to propose your music to the curator. The curator is the person that chooses the songs that go on the playlist, just in case you've never heard that word before. Um, and we have wonderful relationships with the curators in our genre. And some of the curators I consider my friend, but because I consider them my friends and my colleagues, I respect their decisions on why they chose that my client's song is not ready to enter that playlist. And it's really important that you as an artist, even though you feel that you fit their world and you want to be in it, you have to have consistency. I always tell clients, hey, be consistent, continue to release music, and eventually I know that we will get there. When that will happen, it's out of our hands, but consistency is key in that. And so it's just important to under promise and over deliver. Like it takes time making connections. So over promising connections can sometimes be a red flag. Avoiding financial conversations. Finances is a very difficult topic for most of us. If we feel exposed, we don't want to tell somebody that we have negative dollars in our account or we only have $20 for our budget. It's a very difficult topic for any industry, for any relationship, really. So, although it's very difficult, when you trust somebody and you're going into a partnership, that transparency on the financial aspect is so key. Please don't get into a relationship without having this documentation or having an agreement what the financials are going to look like, because having that mutual respect to follow that in writing is so important and shows, true value to the relationship. All right, Veta, let's go to the next slide. I still have a few slides, so I'm going to try to go a little faster. I know we only have 15 minutes. Red flags are about patterns, not moments. So although many of the other things that we were talking about could be growing pains, um, it's the pattern of it. If you see that the person's like, no, 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 don't worry, it was just this one time, and then it happens again, and it's just this one time, and their excuse is always, it's just today, it's not going to happen tomorrow. You know that pattern is truly not going to allow you to go to the next. So it's really important that you're looking for the patterns. It's really easy for us. We have so much coming at us. It's really easy to forget what happened a month ago. It happens to me all the time. So surround yourself with people that can also be observant. And maybe people that are not even in the music industry and they're like, "Hey, I noticed that your manager's always late, never shows up on time to your studio session or this or that." And these patterns truly don't allow you to go to the next step. All right, next slide. How to be a great collaborator when you don't have leverage. I've been there. I went through a stage that I had no leverage. I literally, I will tell you, I had nothing. I was like, Lord, open the door, take the wheel. I want to make it in the music industry. But I don't have a contact. I don't even know where to start. So I did things like this. I showed up prepared. Every time I went to a an event or a conference, I try to show up to different conferences. I became a Grammy member here locally in the DC chapter, and I would go to all of the events, and I would come ready with my business card at that time. People still used, physical business cards, and whatever people were willing to talk to me, I would follow up with them and meet with them and hey, do you want to grab a coffee? I would communicate clearly. I would say, hey, this is where I am in the music industry and I want to grow. Um, Execute consistently, be consistent. Don't just show up once, show up many times. I volunteered at events, at music industry events. Since I live in the DC area, I advocated. I would go on Capitol Hill and advocate for music creators and immigration reform at the time. I was really involved in that. Um, and I spoke on as working in the music industry and what I thought that it meant for Latin artists that didn't have visas. And so I did what I could in places that I were allowing me to give me a platform. And that helped me to really be consistent and to grow. And I really learned a lot. And respect everyone's role. You know, that allows people to want to. And why do I say respect everyone's role too? Is let's say you go to a place. Don't always expect that you're gonna get something out of it. Maybe it's just for people to see that you're there and you're consistent. And if it's your friend inviting you and it's their contacts, you might not just want to grab those contacts and take them for your own at that time. Really respecting the boundaries of maybe a friend inviting you to an event and it's their contacts. Later on, they'll come back and say, "Hey, if you needed anything or you want me to connect you," you got to learn how to read the room and really respect people in that way. Excuse me. Because it shows integrity, and that doesn't mean that you're not hungry. It just means that you can respect those boundaries and people can trust you. This industry can be really hard because many times you don't know who to trust. You don't know who might take a contact. Or you might feel like, okay, is it taking a contact? I know some people say, don't be there's a phrase, I forget what it's called. It's slipping my brain, but there's a phrase that people say like don't block the door from people. And I'm like, hey, I don't want to do that. I want to open the door for people, but not every door is ready for certain artists or for certain managers. They don't know how to walk in there and know what to do. And so it's important that sometimes if we're gonna open the door for them, well, let's walk in there with them and help them through a process. Or it might be like, oh yeah, they're so ready to go. Here's the contact, go for it. And you have to make those, only you can know if the person is ready to have those relationships. And so, yeah, it's something to think about. Next, slide. Reputation reality. The industry doesn't remember who was loud. It remembers who was solid, who was consistent. And so it's what we've talked about. Momentum is wonderful, and somebody can be really out there and really amazing. But if they're not consistent and they're not continuing their craft, it's going to be really hard for them. So reputation is so important and so key. Go to the next photo. Setting up partnerships that last longer than one release cycle. Share long-term vision, clear success metrics, regular alignment, and exit clarity. Yes, really. Exit clarity means understand your contract. If you sign a distribution to deal with TuneCore or CD Baby, understand what that looks like. If you sign something with Adarga, if you sign something with the Orchard, whoever it's so interesting to me how many creatives I meet or even business managers that I'm like, so what does your deal terms look like? And they're like, I don't know, but I know that I needed one, so I signed it. Truly understand how to go in the door, and if you would need to exit, what would your exit look like? And what are your responsibilities? And what are your benefits. So then you can truly take advantage and know right now I'm starting with CD Baby, but in 2 years I might want to go to a boutique distributor that's more fit to my genre or that's on a percentage basis. Or you might want to have different you might have a different goal, but if you don't know what you're currently in your deal terms, you won't know how to make those shifts or that transition whenever that door opens. So truly important to understand that. Next, one release versus long-term thinking. One release has hype-driven, reactive, short memory. Long-term, strategy-driven, sustainable, and trust-based. So when we're looking to work with artists, a lot of the artists that we work with, Mier San Marcos being one of them, they're a large Christian band, Latin Christian band from Guatemala. They've played Madison Square Garden. They just had a huge event in Guatemala for their 25th anniversary. They've been around for a really long time. Um, they knew that they wanted to be consistent and that they had these like crazy goals. And we were like, and some of those goals have taken 10 years to meet, but they were in the goals that we wanted to reach. And they shared that with us. They're like, "Hey, this might sound crazy, but one day we want to play Madison Square Garden, or one day we want to do this." And we're like, "Okay, well, let's write it down and let's shoot for it." So it's really important to have a strategy to drive towards that, and there might be some turns in there, um, and not just focus on the one release. The one release is important. I have some clients that are newer and they're just so focused on the one release, but they don't have the one release and other things in mind. Okay, I'm going to release today, but in 6 months I gotta be working on what is gonna be the next release. If I can't release more music because of finances, am I gonna just use social media videos? What is gonna be my plan of action that's gonna get my voice out there until I can go to the next opportunity? Next slide. Some questions for you to go back and answer. So these questions are for you. You're not going to put them in the chat. It's more for you to think about, maybe write them down. I know they're going to send the presentation to you guys. But I think some of these questions are really important for you to evaluate in your career. One partnership you need to improve after the things that we've talked about. One expectation you never clearly communicated. And one behavior you would like to improve on. I think many times we'll point out everybody like, well, this person's not doing this for me. I'm not getting ahead because of him. I'm not doing this because of him. And it's hard for us to look at ourselves. So I say start with yourself because you can control you. I don't know if you've heard of that. I tell my son that all the time. You can control you. You can control your calm hands. You can control your behavior, but you can't control other people's behavior. So you got to look at yourself first. You need to evaluate yourself and what can you control? What can you change? So I leave these questions for you guys to evaluate where you are. Next, the foundation of winning partnerships. Alignment over control. As humans, I feel like we want control. We who loves to be the driver? Not me so much, but for the most part, you want to have control of that steering wheel. You want to have control of how you use your time. So aligning and sharing control, it's okay, as long as you're aligned. Communication over assumption. Assumptions, I feel like kill relationships. Assuming you know what the person is thinking, assuming you know what their intentions were is it can put you in a very difficult place. So truly try to communicate, and your assumption might be correct, but get confirmation. And then if you get confirmation that your assumption's correct, then you make the decisions of next steps. Longevity over optics. It's and what that means is just because something looks flashy or shiny doesn't mean that it's gonna be give you longevity. So look for those partnerships that are willing to go that extra mile, really walk with you, because sometimes, I'll give you this example, and I know we're running out of time. Um, when my artist was in a band, when my husband was in a band that I was managing, my one goal was to be at this label because it was so shiny. It was everywhere. And I'm like, the only way we're gonna make it in the music industry is if we get signed to that label. It was a Christian Latin label. And I was so focused on wanting to be at that label. Never was at that label, guys. Never signed with them. Actually, they're our number one competitor. Um, and it just their vision didn't align with how I wanted to do business. And I learned that through the years. What they do is not wrong. It's just different. Their culture is different. The way that I want to represent the music industry and the way that I want to build the culture at Adarga is different, and it aligned more with my views and how I wanted to represent artists. And so, but that to me at the moment, I could see nothing beyond that. I'm like, that's where I want to be. So optics sometimes kind of blind you from being able to build something on your own. So great teams don't just win moments, they survive transitions. I've survived 100 million transitions out of Darga. We've had to pivot. We were at that big shift between, when the digital era was really coming in, learning public music publishing, sound exchange coming in, and what that looked like, pandemic, surviving a pandemic in the music industry and helping our clients shift, touring space and working with them through that. And so we've had to survive transitions, and doing it in a way where we could still end the day with joy. Because I keep myself in check with that. I love the music industry, but I want to still end my day and my legacy of working in this space with some joy. So if you're feeling burnt out, I see you. It's so hard, but try to look at the joy and try to always look back at what you didn't have and where you are, even if it's something small. It's like, wow, I made it to this. Before I didn't know how to distribute my music. Now I do. Before I didn't know that you could create an AI music video now. You couldn't do that 10 years ago. Like use tools. AI is a whole different topic, and I do not give legal advice on that. But just in an aspect of all the tools that you have at your disposal, where artists 10 years didn't have, is pretty incredible. Next slide. If success came faster than expected, would your current partnerships be ready for it? It's always wonderful to just work towards making sure you're ready. So that's a question for you guys. You don't have to answer it now, but I'm just gonna say it one more time. If success came faster than expected, would your current partnerships be ready for it? I'll give you an example. I had a client, I got a phone call, one of those times where I answered the phone past 9, I think it was like 1 a.m. And a client of mine was like, "Hey, my friend's music video went viral. It has 100 million views." She was an independent artist. She did a cover, posted it, and it went absolutely viral. And she had no idea it was a cover, so she had no idea how to license the song. She had no idea. She just never thought anybody would even view the song. And so at that time, we were like, okay, we had partnerships with the owners of the song, so we got on the phone first thing in the morning, licensed the song, cleared the translation. That song was actually in a lawsuit, so we had to negotiate with them because it was creating so much revenue. Because Adarga's partnerships were strong, we didn't know her, but her friend knew us. We signed her. We've been working with her for over 5 years, and she still lives off that income. I think she makes more than $40,000 a month off of that one song. So that was very blessed of her. But we might have not been able to do that if Adarga didn't have the relationships that we had at that moment. Next slide. And that's it, guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. I hope you were able to take something with you, and it was great to be here.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Alex. It was very informative and I learned a lot actually. So I really appreciate you being here. Again, we thank you, Alex, so much for being a part of our community here and being willing to give us this expert speaker session. It was really insightful and we really appreciate your time. And to our community, we love you guys. We thank you guys for showing up and consistently being here. We couldn't do this if you guys weren't here. So it's nothing without you, and you are everything to this program. And we will see you guys next week. Be on the lookout for our emails. See you soon.